Hello and welcome to Recharge Wrestling. We're here to plug you into the world of professional wrestling. I'm Fisher and I'm here as always with Krusty. Sorry, I'm laughing there because he's changed my name to Fish Cake on the screen.
I knew you'd
threw
seen
me off
that
completely as I was reading it.
I
saw
knew
it.
you'd seen it. That's why I started laughing. Yeah, sorry. We're of the mature kind here at Recharge Wrestling.
Yeah.
Well, I am anyway.
So just the two of us this week, but we're going to give you a in-depth review of Raw in particular this week. A bit about SmackDown, not too much on that because it was before SummerSlam, so a lot of it is kind of irrelevant at this point, but we'll talk about the parts that we liked and that were relevant. And then obviously a bit of a review of NXT. No AEW pod this week. I will be doing, though, a review on our YouTube channel, just me, tomorrow. So if you haven't subscribed there, subscribe at Recharge Wrestling, like and comment on all our stuff. You know, join in our conversation. Follow us on Twitter as well at Recharge Wrestle for more details on that. But yeah, thank you as well we've had quite a big influx of new podcast listeners. So that's great on that format. So thank you very much for checking us out. If you're new to this podcast and you've stuck around, thank you. You must enjoy it. If this is the first one you've ever listened to, I hope you enjoy it as well.
Hello and welcome.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's a 3-man pod, sometimes it's a 2-manner, but we hope you like our analysis of wrestling and just having a little bit of a fun chat.
Definitely. So should we get straight into Raw?
Yeah, so normally we start with SmackDown, but like I said, there's not loads from SmackDown this week. So we're just going to go on to a big chat about Raw because it felt like a complete reset after SummerSlam this week. And we were very excited by it. And I know Keeney, obviously he's not on the pod today. His top mark was just going to be the whole of Raw.
Well, funnily enough, it is my top mark.
Yeah,
the whole of Raw.
So we're going to talk about Raw first, then just a brief bit about SmackDown before we move on to NXT. So yeah, take it away, Krusty, if you want to sort of just generalize your top mark.
We've discussed this for the last few weeks, haven't we? Saying what's going to happen when Triple H comes in, and I think we sort of came to the conclusion we thought we're going to overanalyze and think everything is Triple H. But then I think we discussed it more and thought, well, actually, he's not going to try and displease Vince, considering he's still the biggest shareholder in WWE. But there is no denying that this Raw was hugely influenced by Triple H. And wow, what a refreshment. I mean, I've been enjoying WWE for a while now anyway.
Yeah.
But this just took it up to another level. I cannot wait for SmackDown this week. It was just insane. I mean, the promos were great. We're finally getting decent matches that are going longer.
That was
than
what
2
I
minutes.
was going to say. The biggest takeaway from me isn't he didn't do massive angles. He didn't do loads of debuts and surprises. Okay, we got a couple on SummerSlam, but on Raw itself, it was just a solid wrestling show. Yeah. It was just a good wrestling show. And that is what you want. This is what it should be week to week. And that's what excites me. Because it can be this. There wasn't, okay, Johnny Gargano returned, or The Fiend came in, or The Undertaker come out of nowhere, or something like that. Like the stuff that can't be done every week. This was stuff that you can do this every week. You can do 5 or 6 really good matches, a couple of good promo segments, get as many people onto the show as and the matches having stakes as well.
And it didn't feel like, although the matches were longer, it didn't feel like there was any less superstars. We had all the big hitters. We had Becky, we had Seth, the Usos, who we're used to seeing. But then you also had these incredible new, well, not new to us, but new to the main screen and in-ring actually wrestling talents in the forms of Ciampa. We had Mustafa Ali, who we haven't seen in a few weeks.
Yeah. Obviously, Io.
Io Sky
and Dakota Kai
and Bailey. That faction was everywhere.
Yeah, all over the show. So I really liked
it. Felt fresh, didn't it? I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and what I do like about it is you said, they got as many people. They did not use every single person on the show. They kept off a few and minimized. Like Lashley didn't do much. Kevin Owens wasn't there. Theory wasn't on the show. So they've kept it to I think they're going to rotate talent better as well, so you don't get bored of them.
That's a great idea. So next week have Lashley in a big match. Perhaps don't have the Usos, and it just keeps it fresh, but you don't feel hard done by because there's such a big roster and a roster of talented people, not just people they're throwing in for the sake of it, like we have seen over the last few weeks, where you get Aaliyah come into the ring and doing not even wrestling and things like that. I know that changed now Triple H is involved, but yeah, just overall a fantastic show. I couldn't remember a Raw I enjoyed this much all the way through. Obviously, there's been some really huge Raws and SmackDowns, weekly shows that basically have massive angles, which make it incredible. But in terms of start to finish, engaging me and making me want more, because usually the 3 hour show does drag on a little bit, and I think, oh, not this segment, but actually, all the way through, absolute corker. Really enjoyed it, and I hope our listeners felt the same as well. So I think that's really the end of my top mark. But I think should we start at the start of the show?
Yeah, we'll go through it bit by bit. But yeah, I just want to add, I agree with everything you said there. Really, it was just a really good show from start to finish. There were a couple of little nitpicks that I would like to see changed in future weeks that I think are a little bit old traits that I want them to get rid of. But other than that, it felt very fresh and very good.
Brilliant. Yeah, I think Keeney felt the same, even though he's not here from talking to him in the week. So we had Becky out first straight away. Great face promo. So you can see straight away she's changed. She's changed her character, calling out Bianca Belair and then showing that they have respect for each other. Is she injured?
Yeah, so
she actually is injured.
Yeah, she actually is. So she separated a shoulder. I've seen pictures from the match. So she did it during the match at SummerSlam. Separated shoulder pops out.
Right.
So it's a legit injury.
Couple of months.
Yeah, and it's weird timing, obviously, with Bayley just returning. Now Becky's gone. I was hoping we were going to get some sort of interaction because Becky and Bayley, I've said this once on the pod before, but they've never had a one-on-one match on the main roster, which is very strange. You'd think the two, the horsewomen have always been interchangeable.
Crazy.
Like having matches, Becky and Charlotte, for example, have had loads. Charlotte, Becky, and Bayley and Sasha, have had tag teams, then loads of feuds and stuff like that. But yeah, Bayley and Becky have never had a one-on-one singles match on the main roster, so I was kind of looking forward to that. But what we did get instead was still good. Obviously, we're going to miss Becky, but the Raw Women's division is so stacked at the moment. I don't think she's out for ages and ages. So I don't, it's good timing in the sense of we've got Bayley back at least. I think if this had happened and he didn't have anyone coming back, it would be significantly weaker on Raw, and that would be a problem. But obviously, hope Becky gets better soon and we get her back on the show because she just turned face as well. So I was looking forward to seeing this like new character of hers. Well, it's kind of her old character. It's the man character, really, isn't it? But I was looking forward to seeing where that goes.
The only thing is, I don't know how Triple H is going to gauge this, but we've said it before. It happened with Bayley. Why leave these really good promo superstars off of TV? Doesn't make any sense. Becky can come out and hang around with Bianca. She can cut promos every few weeks.
She can go on commentary. Like that. She can go on commentary and things like that. Like, and just then add little bits to the story. Doesn't have to come on every week because I think it gets a bit tedious if you can't wrestle when you're on every week. But even if you come on every 2 or 3 weeks, if she's going to be out for say 2-3 months,
she can cause distractions.
She's on 3 or 4 times.
Like
3 or 4 times or something. That would be good.
Just to keep her sort of character, because people will forget that she's turned face. I think if you leave her off too long.
Yeah. I liked the fact she sort of hold it down, Bianca. As she left, I thought it was a good little promo talking just of specifically this segment itself. But yeah, it was really good.
They sort of finalised it, didn't they, by her getting beaten up by Bayley and the gang, I've called them. Do they actually have a name yet?
I don't think they have a name yet.
They don't have a name yet.
No.
But, I love this faction. Absolutely. And they were everywhere, weren't they?
Yeah, I love the presentation of them, the fact that they're made to feel important from the off. They're feuding with the women's champion and the other biggest women's star in Becky Lynch. They were on the show a lot. So yeah, they feel important. I compared it to kind of what the Shield came like when they came in, when they were just destroying people backstage and in the ring and all 3 of them feel good. And they're all great wrestlers.
Yeah, exactly. We know they can wrestle. We know they can. We know Dakota Kai especially can talk on the microphone.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw them interrupt a Oscar versus Alexa Bliss match. Again, just talk. I know I've sort of skipped ahead now, but that match there, we've been having the same old rubbish of Doudrop versus Alexa Bliss, and then Nikki ASH, and all these weird matches that mean absolutely nothing. Whereas Oscar versus Alexa Bliss is starting up to be a banger. Normally, I wouldn't like interruptions, but actually, because it was this new faction that seems to be trying to take over the women's division, isn't it?
Yeah,
I loved it.
And what that then set up is another segment later on in the night. So you then got Io Sky versus Bianca Belair because Belair demanded a match with one of the group, and then Alexa and Asuka come down and help. My only slight nitpick, and this is one of the things I was talking about, was you got 2 DQ finishes in the women's matches, which I can
normally
pass it
I would
on
dislike
this.
that.
Yeah, but it's just something I don't want to see too many non-finishes, and I hope that Triple H kind of cuts that bit out and finds other ways around them. That was my only slight criticism. But
the problem is we've had it so often that it feels bad. It's like when I criticize roll-up pins, but in this instance, I think
it does work in this instance.
This is neat, and it's also making them hated straight away because they're interrupting all these matches. They're basically interlinking the whole women's division through sort of a dislike for this faction. Which is, they do remind, I know you mentioned the Shield, but they remind me quite a lot of Toxic Attraction on NXT, which is obviously probably come from Triple H, his mind. So just the fact that they're going around and interfering in everything and having their face all over.
It'll be interesting if they do bring tag titles back, because a good way to bring them would be to put them on Io and Dakota. And then you could.
I don't see why you couldn't. I mean, you've also got another tag team right there in Alexa Bliss and Oscar, and I think that's quite a cool little tag team.
If they're going to do the tag team tournament, I think they're getting towards enough teams to do it now. You can throw in obviously Nikki and Doudrop in there. You could maybe bring Zelina Vega back with Carmella when she returns. You've got a few options at least there, and Natalia. She's not with Shayna Baszler anymore, is she? But there's options, a few, not many, but you can do something.
Well, this could follow on quite nicely to something else we were going to discuss. Talking about the women's roster and tag teams, there's rumors going around that WWE have open talks with Sasha Banks and Naomi. This isn't confirmed. It might just be wishing, but
there's a few different. I've heard a few differing things. That's the thing. I mean, there was one report saying that they've agreed for them to come back, and some people were even saying they might turn up on Raw on Monday. The one just gone, and it didn't happen. So I'm hopeful that they will come back. I don't know, because it wasn't confirmed that they'd even been released. I think they had. I think they had, because they're definitely doing stuff outside of WWE. They had a booking some meet and greet thing, which normally obviously you can't do without. If you're under WWE contract, you can't really do that without WWE permission. So it suggested to me that they have been released from their contracts, but it may well be that Triple H and Stephanie phone them and say, look, it's change of ownership, change of plans, please consider coming back on the same money you were on before, probably, or maybe even more money, who knows, and persuading them to come back. It would not surprise me if that happened.
Yeah, I would personally put them on SmackDown.
Yes, they were on SmackDown anyway, so
definitely
it would make sense. Especially, I mean, you need challengers for Liv, and I think if they're coming back, maybe they should be heels rather than faces. I think would make much more sense.
I think they could easily cut an absolute fire promo, basically a heel promo, saying, "Well, we didn't want to be here because you fans are all rubbish," or something like that. It could be quite easy to twist it, couldn't it? Yeah, it's exciting. The women's division has suddenly been made very, very interesting. It was quite underwhelming before. You had Bianca Belair and Becky on Raw, and that was basically it, wasn't it?
Yeah, suddenly the women's division is absolutely stacked on Raw. Like the 6 main women you had there in that feud, plus then you've got Rhea Ripley, just sort of on the side feud. You've got obviously Becky, who's now going to be sidelined for a bit, but then you've also got others as well in there. It's very, it's a really strong looking women's division, and this whole show presented them really, really well. There was only 2 matches and they ended in DQ, like we say, but I think it's what it's setting up is exciting. I don't know what we're going to get at Clash, but my prediction is probably that we'll get Bayley versus Bianca Belair in a title match. But I wouldn't mind it if we just get some like street fight 6-woman.
That could be awesome as well.
Or something.
Yeah, I wonder if it's too early for Bayley versus Belair.
Yeah, I think they could delay that.
Yeah.
Or they even do that on Raw. And again, it leads to chaos. Maybe Bianca wins, but it's not. There's like interferences everywhere, and then it just leads to a big brawl at the end of it or something between the 6 women, and then they're just like, look, enough's enough. Let's just have a big street fight at with no rules at Clash. That would be awesome.
I'd love that. Yeah.
I mean, I think we're more likely to get a title match, but I would like to see the other one because then we'll get to see EO. We'd get to see all of those people.
Or you have a tag match.
Yeah,
EO and Dakota Kai versus Alexa Bliss and Oscar. It gets all of those in the ring. Because they're going to want to show off here. That's what they're going to want to do. You're putting all of your stars at the pay-per-view, which makes sense. And then you have Bayley versus
they should be on the card, considering how they're being booked at the moment. They're all over the show. You'd want them on the pay-per-view card.
Definitely.
And I think they'll be, and then obviously we've got Survivor Series after that. I can see them being strongly booked at Survivor Series as well.
It's going to be incredible, isn't it? I can't wait. I'm so excited. I hope this momentum keeps up and I'm not disappointed.
Yeah, I hope so too. So that was the first segment, but then we kind of tangent onto the next ones a little bit.
Covered the women's division.
But let's talk about the United States title because they also made that feel very important on this show. They did a big video package with previous United States championships and the history of the title, which I love that they do that because, especially with no world title in the men's side on Raw, this title needs to be big. And on this show, it felt huge because you had that presentation, but also you had 2 triple threat qualifying matches. The winners then face each other in a one-on-one match. So it's throughout the show, you're planning matches with stakes. And then they face Bobby Lashley next week. So the first one was the AJ Styles, The Miz and Mustafa Ali. Yeah, what did you make of that one?
I was just straight away, I was like, what a match. I mean, you've got a true sort of ring general there and charismatic demeanor from Miz straight away. Mustafa Ali, someone fresh. I know he's been on occasionally, but he's not been around much, and we know he's a great wrestler. And then you've got AJ Styles, what an absolute legend. You know he's incredible in ring. So straight away you're thinking this is going to be an absolute scorcher. And wow, didn't we get a match? And as you say, having stakes makes it meaningful. One thing I really did like, although AJ Styles and Mustafa Ali really did put on a great show, The Miz is wrestling and actually wrestling. He's not cheating constantly, looking like he's the weaker of the 3. Although he actually almost took the pin in the end.
So the finish was incredible, wasn't it? Let's talk about that finish. That finish was awesome. So it started with Ali doing a 450 splash.
Yeah, 450.
Yeah. And as Ali lands on him, he bounces up and AJ Styles catches him into a Styles clash onto the Miz, and then
that must have really hurt.
But it just looks so cool. The timing it was
so clever.
And again, it's one of those little finishes you think is I know they don't book the matches per se. Triple H, Vince, whoever's booking the show, you have producers producing matches. But from what I've heard, Triple H has basically said you have a little bit more freedom to be creative in your matches and do moves you don't normally do, which I said that when we saw Bianca do a Spanish Fly at the pay-per-view, because I've never seen her do that before. And the same with promos, you still got to get your point, but they're not quite as tightly scripted. Maybe that was an example. That finish may have been an example of that. I just thought that was awesome. And this match in general was really good. Like you say, The Miz is a really good in-ring wrestler, particularly when you put him in there with 2 people that complement his style really well. And that's what you got here.
And I also like that they just didn't make him look weak, which was good. He was properly wrestling, which I enjoyed. This then went on to a second triple threat, didn't it? Which again, just awesome. And three people who you don't really see in ring singles, but can wrestle: Dolph Ziggler, Tommaso Ciampa, and Chad Gable.
Yeah, Gable being in this match was cool because he's a tag team wrestler. Otis wasn't even there, was he? He wasn't at ringside being annoying as far as I can remember at all. So it was like Chad Gable, the singles star.
These were just proper matches, weren't they? Just proper matches. No messing around, just wrestling. I loved it. All three of them looked incredible. There was just finishers coming here, there, and everywhere. You had Gable hitting some good old suplexes. The fact that Ziggler seems to be allowed to hit his finishers now is good. I mean, I love a famouser. Absolutely love a famouser.
He was in a double submission at one point. That looked really cool as well. There was lots of cool stuff in this. There's a big AOA crash from Ciampa that got a near fall. The rolling suplexes, the zigzag, all sorts of stuff. It was one of those matches, and he felt like I thought Ciampa was going to win, but it wouldn't have surprised me if any of the three won.
Definitely.
It wouldn't have surprised me if Ziggler pinned Gable and Ziggler just won randomly.
It could have been any of them, couldn't it? Like you say. And the thing that really shows is Triple H's show is the fact that Ciampa has come out of nowhere to win.
Yeah, he was basically the Miz's sidekick, just at the side of the ring, having occasional matches, but not really winning them. To winning 2 matches on one show and now getting a title opportunity next week. So he wins here, then has a one-on-one match with AJ Styles, which again made sense because at the pay-per-view, Styles interrupted and they brawled for the crowd. So I did think they were setting that up, but it was I'm not complaining. It was good idea.
Awesome.
And then you've got a banger between Styles and Ciampa too. So those two wrestling their second matches of the night, quite long matches as well.
You also had a guest commentator, a Booker T, which is fresh.
Yeah, that was random, but it was.
But I think it's cool. Bring in some different commentary, sort of like AEW do when they bring JR in now. I think it's cool to just bring up a change, isn't it? It's something different,
especially like halfway through the show. It makes it feel different to the rest of the show. So I didn't mind that at all. I quite like Booker T anyway, so that was fine. And then we got banger here, and like I say, Ciampa won again, meaning that he next week will face Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship, which is crazy, really. You'd never have thought that a week or so ago. Miz did help him in this match a little bit. At one point, he put his foot on the rope to save him, so it wasn't completely clean, but
it was good. It was clever.
But Ciampa still won, and AJ was protected in defeat, really. And he won a match earlier in the night, so it didn't make AJ look like an idiot, really, either, did it? It was quite. It was just really good. I haven't got anything bad to say about it.
It was quality, wasn't it?
And then, sorry, I was going to say, so Lashley then cuts a promo about that, and the match is happening next week. And just one little interesting note that I've already told you about, but the match is happening next week in Cleveland, Ohio, which is where Raw is next week. I'm assuming it's probably going to main event the show because it's a title match. They had a title match main event in this show, which again I like. Title matches main eventing. I would not be surprised here if we see a certain Johnny Gargano turn up because it's in his hometown. Yeah, that is where Johnny Gargano lives and is from. So, and the fact it's Ciampa in this thing, it wouldn't shock me at all if that happens.
Good way of costing him the win.
Yeah, or helping him win. Who knows?
Do you think they'd make Bobby Lashley lose already?
I can't see it, but it's Triple H and Tommaso Ciampa. It could happen. I don't think it will.
I'm excited whatever happens.
I think it makes more sense the other way around, like you said. But the beauty of this is it is a refresh. We don't know exactly where Triple H's direction is going.
That's what we want, isn't it? We don't want to read. We don't want to be having the same old thing week in, week out that we can predict so easily.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you won SummerSlam because of the predictions, because it was unpredictable and you're not very good.
Maybe, although I thought SummerSlam's actual results were quite easy to predict.
It was pretty easy,
it was the returns and the shocks and the quality of the matches that made SummerSlam good. It wasn't necessarily that unpredictable, but yeah, hopefully we just don't get the same formulaic stuff. That's the main thing. We don't want to see the same, start with a promo, then this person interferes, then they have a match, and then it's a DQ, and like the same old stuff all over and over and over again. We don't really want to see that. We want to see some stuff different. And even in AEW, this has been happening more and more as well. I feel like even their product, we're seeing predictable things happen all the time. I'm guessing what's going to happen next, and it's happening too often. So yeah, I think it just needs a bit of a shot in the arm, and this show had that without it being crazy over the top.
Yeah,
it just was really solid. What else did we have?
Well, we're talking about fresh superstars and a refresh. So not so fresh, but still awesome. We had Seth Rollins come out in the ring. Then the Street Profits together have a bit of a back and forth with Seth, which I found really quite funny. They were winding Seth up.
Yeah, I loved it when he said you lost to a man with one booby.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Talking about Cody, they were really getting under his skin, weren't they?
Yeah.
Using sort of real truth, and then also saying that they took the titles off of him.
Yeah, which is a good point. I'm glad when they sort of recall things.
Yeah, because that was a long time ago now.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that. That's how long ago it was.
And then Montez Ford and Dawkins have this want to have. They're going to have a match with Seth and decide to do rock paper scissors. And I found this quite funny because Montez Ford goes to do it and then just runs off, grabs the ref and runs to the ring. I wonder again if this is hinting at them splitting up. Dawkins didn't actually react to this, but no. I think it still could be hinting towards this. You've then got Montez Ford versus Seth Rollins. To put Montez Ford in a match, one-on-one with
this
Seth
felt
Rollins.
like a trial, like go and see if you can hang with a main eventer.
Yeah,
on your own.
Boy, did he!
Yeah, and then they had a
banger.
And I knew it was going to be. I knew it was going to be because we've seen Montez put on bangers before.
And he looks incredible, doesn't he? He looks like a main.
Yeah. I mean, do you remember that
star.
Montez Ford had that? It was a few months ago on SmackDown. He had a random match with Roman Reigns as well, and it was really good.
Yeah.
And yeah, again here with Seth.
We've said it for a while, haven't we? He's a future star for
and,
sure.
And it was well booked. It was like he shouldn't win because he's still a tag team wrestler now at the end of the day, and Seth doesn't need to lose this match. But he should run him. He should. You can make you think he can win. It can be close.
It pushed him. It really did push Seth, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the kind of matches we need to see more of as well. So yeah, I really enjoyed that.
I thought both of them here were amazing. I absolutely loved the finish as well. I mean, a little note from Seth when he was on the I think he was on the turnbuckle. I'm not too sure, but he said, "Who wants to smoke now, bitch?"
Yeah.
The 14 plus era is definitely coming in. But it was just awesome where they both they both went for a frog splash. Montez then landed on Seth's knees and really quickly, no messing about, hit the stomp. Like it was snappy, bang. It was believable. Not like where they just bend over the ring and sit there waiting for him to stomp. It was believable that he hit that move. It was just an incredible match. As you say, Seth definitely needed to win that. It would have been weird if he didn't. But yeah, and showing off Montez
Seth's
Ford.
Been winning more recently, which is good.
Yeah,
he's been wrestling more on Raw. This is what we were saying he should have been doing in the Cody feud, was winning matches between, because obviously Seth's feud is with Riddle, not with Ford. So Rollins picking up wins here before he faces Riddle makes more sense. Interestingly as well, he did mention Roman and the Universal title here, which surprised me a bit in his promo before the match, which suggests surely they've got to be going down that route sooner or later. It also makes me doubt. So it would make more sense to do Seth v Drew. It makes me doubt because we've kind of been assuming that Drew's going to win the title at Clash. I think that's what we've been kind of hoping for, maybe. But Seth mentioned coming for Roman here. He had that little teaser, didn't he, as well, with Roman the other day, didn't he? Was it on SmackDown or was it at SummerSlam? Where was it? Where he came out and just sort of acknowledged him. And yeah, so it looks like Seth's sort of heading towards a title feud at some point. But it just makes me wonder, will that feud be against Drew, which would be heel v face, so it would make more sense? Or are we finally going to get the proper feud between Seth and Roman going forward?
Thing is, I want Seth and Roman to have a proper feud, but it doesn't make sense to not have Drew win at Clash, I think.
Yeah.
I think they've always had it in there, but then again, it's Triple H running the show now. I think they always had it in their head that they owed Drew from him carrying through the COVID period with no fans, and this is the play. It's all about Drew, isn't it? Here, it really is all about Drew. Don't forget, we've also got that briefcase floating around.
Yes.
We think it's going to hang on to. Theory's going to hang on to that for quite some time. I think that's going to play a part, though. I really do think that's going to play a part at most pay-per-views, to be honest.
Yeah, it's interesting. The title scene feels quite. It feels like one of Drew or Seth should be the person to beat Roman at the moment, I would say. But I don't know which one and when. I don't think it should be, like I said, I don't think Theory should be the one to beat Roman. If he wins it should be down the lane.
Splitting up somehow.
Yeah, if it's one title, then yeah, fair enough, down the line. I don't know how they're going to do the title splitting storyline, but I hope they do at some point.
It was a silly idea, to be honest.
It was a terrible idea. And again, if this has happened 3-4 months earlier, with Vince's retirement, it would not have happened. I'm 100% sure about that. But there we go. And then Seth Seth won, and then he went to attack forward afterwards. Dawkins did come back out at that point to make a bit of a save, didn't he?
He did, but I still think the cracks are showing there.
Yeah. So that's when we got the Asuka Alexa Bliss match, which was very short because we got the DQ. The triple threat was after that. Then we got On This Day.
I see clearly. Yeah, he's brought it back.
So Edge,
that was very harmonic there, Fisher.
I know.
You were really getting into that.
So Edge is back with his old entrance as well, which I didn't actually expect after the big entrance at SummerSlam. But I'm not complaining because I love Metalingus, obviously, everyone loves Metalingus. And if he's going to be a baby face, it kind of makes sense to him to have it. And hopefully we get to hear that at Clash in person when hopefully Edge wrestles, which I'm really hoping he does because he's one of the last WWE stars that I've not seen wrestle live.
That's available to see.
Yeah, like current people. Walter was one of them. I saw him on the last tour. There's a few. There are still a few, but he's the big one. He's like the huge name.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope so. But anyway, so he comes out here and just cuts a really short promo. And I like the fact he kept it short and sweet and didn't ramble on for 10, 15 minutes. That for me is a positive thing as well. Just straight to the point, basically said, I like the fact he addressed him being a heel before as well. He was like, thanks to the fans, because I could understand if you booed me because I've been a bit of an arsehole recently. That was what he said. So he addressed that. He didn't just come out and pretend it never happened, because I hate it when they do that. But Edge is obviously smarter than that. Anyway.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. So he come out, addressed that, and then said he was totally blindsided by the Judgment Day turn and Finn Balor thing, and basically for them to watch their backs because he's going to end what he started, which was the Judgment Day. Really good little promo, I thought. And got him back established him back as a...
On this day, he can now see clearly.
Yep.
So he's gone back face. And then I guess it's on to the end of Raw.
So just quickly, just to talk about the Io Belair match itself, because how nice was it to see? I was so excited to see Io wrestle on Raw. It felt really weird, but really good.
Yep, there was no squash.
Same
it was
music,
let run, wasn't it, for a
presentation, entrance looked really cool, by the way. They changed it slightly. Good presentation. She was awesome. The match was really good. I know it ended in that DQ, but yeah, just awesome that was. And then after that as well, Miz and Ciampa got a hell of a promo before the main event, and that was the main event after that, wasn't it? Yes,
which was the Mysterios versus the Usos.
And again, every match on this card, apart from Alexa v Asuka, because that was just setting up an angle, an absolute banger of a match. And do you know what? Do you know who I was impressed with in this match?
Dom.
I actually thought Dom held his own here, because normally in these type of matches, especially if he's in there with three really good guys, he stands out like a sore thumb for not being as good as the others. I actually thought he did pretty well here, and his hot tag was really good. So, yeah, credit to him. I thought he held his own in this match. I thought it was actually a banger of a match, and obviously we've got a cool angle afterwards as well.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Finished with the 1D, clean 1D as well.
Yep.
So I think surely this has got to be it again for. Surely now we've got rid of Street Profits and Mysterios as challengers for the titles.
Yeah, well, the Mysterios are still feuding with the Judgment Day, really, aren't they? So
Yeah,
I can't say. I don't
They
know
can't
who
challenge for it though now.
I mean, we were
surely.
talking about it the other day. Who the Usos move on to? I still don't really know. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be the Mysterios after this.
because everyone else is the twos,
Yeah.
and we the ones. I like the fact that they're being put strong now. I remember there was a time when they lost every match.
Yeah, that was
until
annoying me. I skipped
with New Day, wasn't it? Yeah, that was terrible. That was Skid City. But the end angle, like you say, was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Yeah. The end angle was cool. So the Judgment Day come down after the match, wasn't it? Wasn't during the match at all.
Usos has gone already.
Yeah, so the Usos were leaving. Judgment Day attack. There's a sort of a Balor and Priest went for Ray. Rhea was choking out Dom with her legs on the turnbuckle. Really cool image. I love the presentation of Rhea Ripley in this.
That was awesome, yeah.
She looks really cool. And again, Dom's selling was all right there. He looked okay. And then Edge comes out to him the odds. So we got Edge back on the show after his little promo earlier on. But Rhea pushes Balor out of the way, and it means that Edge speared Dom. And we end the show with Dominic injured, basically, from Edge doing a move on him.
And does this play into my little...
Well, that is planting the seeds
prediction,
further, isn't it, for the Dominic turn, which
Yeah.
I think will eventually happen. And
Not like it, Edge.
I think the best way forward for this match is Dominic's now injured, so he can't wrestle.
Yeah.
You do Edge and Ray versus Judgment Day at Clash.
Yeah.
And then Dominic can return. You think he's going to side with Ray and Edge, but for some reason he turns on them.
Yeah. Where's his little...
Or the other way around, but I think that makes more sense.
Yeah, I think so. Here we go.
And that's a match I want to see live as well. Edge and Rey Mysterio.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I think that'd be a banger of a match. So yeah, I think hopefully that's where we go with this.
But overall, an absolutely phenomenal Raw.
Yeah, like I say, one or two little nitpicks, but amazing improvements in my opinion. The standard of the wrestling alone was way better than we've had in a long time, but also the booking of it was really good as well. The presentation and importance of everything, the stakes on the matches, etc., felt really, really good.
So I think now we're going to have to jump back to SmackDown.
Yeah,
the main point was Raw, wasn't it? But
yeah, we talk about Raw because that was sort of the main thing. I mean, you skip top mark the whole show. If I was going to say the thing I like best about it, I would go with the triple threat matches.
Yeah.
But I might actually give my top. I've got another top mark for my AEW video tomorrow, which I'll save as a separate thing for the AEW fans out there. But I will give my top mark last week to something that happened on SmackDown, despite Raw being an amazing show. I loved Drew versus Sheamus, and they always put on bangers. I mean, we were moaning a little bit that they kept delaying it, but the match we got was amazing.
It was worth waiting.
And again, I read about this match. Apparently, Sheamus and Drew were kind of left to their own with a producer, just kind of improvise, do your spots that you want to do. And you can tell that a little bit in this match because it was so good. And Drew and Sheamus, I've heard the term wrestling soulmates used for them. Like they just in the ring, they're perfect together, as opponents. And Drew's amazing. Sheamus is incredibly underrated overall. And yeah, I didn't know what a Donnybrook match is. That's what it's called, wasn't it? Donnybrook.
Yeah, Donnybrook.
I had no idea what that really entailed going into it, but it was cool. You had a bar at ringside. He had these shillelaghs. I think that's how you pronounce them.
Didn't the bar have a picture of Sheamus's dad on it or something like that?
I think it was Sheamus, but it looked like old school. I'm not really sure what it was.
I'm sure they said it was his dad.
Oh, it may have been, yeah.
It might have just been a picture of Sheamus, just like made to look a bit old. I don't know.
But yeah, we had barrels ringside that got thrown into as well. Chairs in the ring at one point. There was a Future Shock DDT onto those chairs, which Drew got a 2 count from. Then when we got the inevitable interruptions, Ridge Holland came in. Butch came in as well, flying. I loved his entrance. Actually, he kind of jumped off the barrels. Butch looked. Ridge Holland feels a bit of an afterthought at the moment, I must admit. But Butch actually is quite.
Well, now Triple H is there.
I think he might push. Yeah, Butch will get Pete Dunne will get a push under Triple H. I'm sure of it. I don't know about Ridge, but Pete Dunne, he tweeted the other day saying Clash probably with a picture of him with the United Kingdom Championship.
I would love them to defend it, not necessarily Pete Dunne, but I think they should defend the United Kingdom Championship in the UK.
Yeah, I'd love to see Dragunov.
Even on a pre-show.
And Dragunov would be, he puts on amazing matches as well. Yeah. Like every title match he has is like an absolute banger. Yeah, I would love to see that. I don't know who his opponent would be, but if they could get someone from the main roster or NXT, like a more known star than just your average NXT UK guy, then that would be better, I think. But then again, I wouldn't mind
not Wolfgang versus
exactly. Yeah, I want to see. I wouldn't mind like a Tyler Bate, obviously.
It'd be awesome for us, but a lot of the fans probably wouldn't know who.
Oh, I don't know. The UK fans would, I reckon. The US fans, if it was on the pay-per-view, I agree with you, because the US fans probably wouldn't give a shit, to be honest. But I think there's fans in attendance would care.
We'll see. I don't know. I think there might be quite a lot of. If it does fill out at 70,000.
I saw the other day there's still, I think, 10,000 tickets available at the moment. That's not many, really. I thought there might be a lot. I think it's 61,000 have been sold. I saw the ticket update.
Man, that atmosphere is going to be incredible.
Yeah, and we know our friend Tizzle was bought one since then, who's been on this podcast. So
shout out to Tizzle.
That might be 60,999 left now. Or 98.
Yeah, look out. Get your tickets if you're not gone. It's going to be an absolute scorcher.
Yeah, I recommend it. But yeah, that was a banger of a match from Drew and Sheamus, which Drew obviously inevitably won, which was kind of obvious, but I don't mind that at all.
No, it was a cracker.
He's headlining Clash at the Castle to face Roman Reigns. We also then got a promo afterwards. Theory smashed Drew over and over with the briefcase, which again I liked, because Theory he's going after everyone, isn't he, that could be champion. So there was Brock, there was Roman, there was Drew at this point, because this was before SummerSlam. And then obviously Drew got his revenge on him later on. But yeah, that was all great. I thought the main event of SmackDown, again, great wrestling. That was the first proper SmackDown that Triple H was in charge of as well. And I think it's good signs for that. I mean, Raw was amazing, but I think good signs as well for SmackDown going forward. The roster's really not quite as strong. The storylines aren't quite as strong at the moment. But I think
Friday we're going to get a change, aren't we? Surely.
Yeah, I just think you're going to see a lot more good wrestling on SmackDown, because there's not been much of it recently in particular. Talking of not particularly great, we got Aaliyah versus Shotzi after that, which was all right. I don't want to bury them or anything.
Nice to see them have a match.
Yeah, no, I hope Shotzi gets a bit of a push out of this. I know she's someone that obviously was in NXT for quite a long time. Triple H must like her somewhat. So I'm hoping Shotzi gets a little bit of a. She's not going to get a title run or anything like that, I don't think. But yeah, she won quickly here with Never Wake Up. She was laughing afterwards, and then Ronda come down and just kind of beat her up, put her in the armbar. And that was when this segment got a bit awkward, because Ronda then took the mic, and I couldn't understand a word she was saying, because she was speaking so bloody fast like this. It was so fast. And then she told some kid that, what did she say?
He was a letdown or something?
Yeah, their mum failed them.
Oh, yeah.
Randomly. Yeah, she's supposed to be, at this point, she's supposed to be a baby face.
No, she's bringing the heel. She's definitely bringing the heel.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And then Liv and Ronda tagged against Natalia and Sonya Deville, didn't they? After this, Liv refusing. One thing I liked from that was Liv refusing to tag out. But we've had the match since then, and obviously we had Ronda turn and stuff since then. But so don't want to say too much about that match anyway. But yeah, I liked what they did there. I'm not allowed to talk about on SmackDown. We got a little bit of a segment with Maximum Male Models when Max Dupree returned. We talked about
I'm
the
chuffed
segment they did on SmackDown, on SummerSlam, sorry, because they also had a promo there. So we're glad he's back. Would we have preferred LA Knight? Maybe, but at least he's on TV.
It could build to that, couldn't it? They might see how it goes.
Well, I've seen some people suggest maybe they do a storyline where there's a fight for power between the brother and sister.
Is that what they're meant to be, brother and sister?
Yes, it's Maxine Dupree's his sister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so then there's like a family struggle for the leader, which she ends up being, but then he comes back as LA Knight. I can see them doing that.
Hey, Knight.
I can see them doing that. And then we got New Day versus Viking Raiders, which has been building for a long time. And Viking Raiders have just been built so strong since they come back as heels.
The vicious Viking Raiders.
Yeah, sorry, I should have called them the new vicious Viking Raiders, shouldn't I? And they beat them out here and then took out Woods afterwards, hitting Shield. And Xavier Woods was selling this like mad. Really good selling from Woods. I'm assuming maybe he has an actual injury because that looked like a write-off angle. It was similar to the Becky one on Raw or the Riddle one.
Savage, didn't it?
So I don't know if they're going to use Kofi in maybe a solo run for a little bit, or maybe, I don't know. But interesting anyway. But yeah, I like the fact they've really pushed Viking Raiders as heels. And again, Triple H we know he likes them from NXT. So
yeah,
they could carry on this push and maybe get a tag title run. Whereas I didn't think it was going to go anywhere before. I thought it'd just fizzle out with Vince at the helm, but maybe not.
Yeah, I prefer this Viking Raiders. I think it makes
Definitely.
more sense. It really makes more sense that they are aggressive.
Rather than just sitting there eating chicken legs.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of lame before. They're great in the ring, but that act was lame before. And that's about it for SmackDown. So let's move on to NXT. And we had a huge match to open NXT because it was a vacated championship. Obviously, the women's tag team titles were vacated by Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. So we've got a 4 women's tag team match here, elimination style as well, which I liked.
This was great.
And it was really, really good. So you had Kaden Carter and Casey, I keep calling her Casey Catanzaro. Katana Chance
as well.
Valentina Feroz and Ulisa Leon, who are a little bit of an underdog team, haven't been on TV that much. Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley. And
random
obviously
together team.
Yeah, well, they've been building that for a little while. And then Toxic Attraction, obviously, the former champions. And I was really happy here because we finally got the titles on a proper tag team and a team that's deserved it and have been
I completely agree.
Underused for far too long in Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. So yeah, I'm really glad they got the win here. It made sense the order it went in as well. They pinned Toxic at the end to get the win, pinning JC Jane, wasn't it? And yeah, it was a really good match and a really good showing for the women's division in NXT because it is still pretty strong. It's not as strong as it maybe was a couple of years ago when you had Candice LeRae, Io, Tegan Knox, Shayna Baszler, Rhea Ripley, all these people were in there. Bianca Belair as well. Like all these people were in there at kind of a similar or the same time. Probably not on the same strength as it was then, but I do still think there's some women with a lot of potential in NXT.
Well, I actually was really impressed by Leon and Perez. Did you see the bit where she like clean pressed her partner above her head?
Yes.
That was incredible. And then launched her. I think they mentioned she's a power lifter. I was like, there is no way she's going to do this. And she did. I was in awe at that.
They've not been on TV much, but I actually think they've looked all right when they've been on TV. They've just not really been used. They look like they're decent. And again, they've been they've been presented as a tag team, which I like because there's not enough women's tag teams that do double moves and things like that. So I like the fact they do that. Paxley, I think's improved as well. I think she looked all right in this match. She got a near fall at one point with a big suplex on Katana. I noticed as well, in the first half of the match, Toxic and Attraction were barely involved in this. They didn't do a lot of wrestling. They were standing on the side. But from a heel point of view, that kind of suits their characters, not wanting to tag in.
Yeah.
So
especially
I didn't mind
an elimination
that.
match.
Yeah, exactly. And then, it's different if you have to take the pin, get the first pin to win, because you need to win the match. But because it's an elimination, standing at the side and not wanting to tag in actually suits the heel characters. Because normally I'm critical when teams don't want to tag in or people don't want to tag in a tag team match, because what are you doing? You need to win. But because it is elimination, I thought that worked. So they left it quite late to get in. And it ended, with, like I say, Katana doing a 450 and then pinning, I think it was JC Jane in the ring after Katana took out Gigi with a dive to the outside.
Great match and deserved winners for sure.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. There were some other standout bits from NXT. I thought there was the Carmelo Hayes did an open challenge, and what I loved here was Giovanni Vinci come down to the ring to answer it.
Yeah,
but he's doing his,
didn't he?
Yeah, he was doing his poses for his thing. He did his still photography thing, and Nathan Fraser just ran past him into the ring and stole the match. I thought that was a cool little bit. And Carmelo Hayes and Nathan Fraser, as you'd expect, put on an absolute banger of a match as well. Vinci stayed out there on commentary. But yeah, there was a cool spot on the ropes where Fraser did a jump, then Carmelo counted it, jumped onto the ropes onto him. It was really, really good. I don't know what the move was called, but it looked awesome. And the match was really, really good. Ended up being a bit of a distraction finish with Trick Williams and Vinci being involved in that. And then Hayes using his finisher to win the match. But yeah, that was good. Carmelo Hayes is main roster already.
He's so good, isn't he?
Yeah, he's someone that could easily get called up and put straight into a mid-card title feud or something like that, I think.
He's got it all, isn't he?
I mean, I don't necessarily think they should rush it, but
no,
yeah, he's great.
Well, they took the title off him and then put it back on him. So
yeah, I think maybe they were thinking about it. Maybe calling him up or something, and then they thought, no, let's keep him here for now. Just have him put on bangers. And at the time, he might have been wasted on the main roster anyway, because I don't know whether Vince would have cared that much.
Yeah.
But now I feel like when he loses that North American title, I do still think maybe he'll get another big title match or big title run. But for now, anyway, he's the North American champion, isn't he? So we then got Wade Barrett sat on a table in the ring with JD McDonough and Bron Breakker. Decent little promo here from the two of them. McDonough is Jordan Devlin. I'm still calling him that, but yeah, he's a really good talker.
Insane, isn't it?
Promo here, bit weird, but the end bit where he cuts his
they've
finger.
Made him proper psychotic, haven't they?
Yeah.
Stabbing that pen into his hand and then signing it in blood. And they've made Breaker look like he's actually genuinely a bit weirded out by it as well.
Yeah. It was all right, this promo. The end bit was a bit strange, but it was good. And I really like him when he's talking. I think the crowd were chanting boring at him at one point, which I thought was well harsh.
It's a bit weird how they don't like. I don't know why. I just think he's great. Maybe I think they'll change their mind when they get him in the ring.
Yeah. Potentially,
because he's just incredible.
We then got a match between Sarai and Mandy Rose, which was actually surprisingly short. I thought they might give Sarai a little bit more here, but it was very quick, and Mandy won very clean. It was all about the after angle, really, setting up an angle between Zoe Stark and Mandy. Mandy went to used to get the chair, and then Zoe Stark came out to make the save. They're having a title match soon, but that match was, there wasn't a lot to it. Then there was a really interesting bit with Axiom and Duke Hudson. So Axiom's having an interview, gets interrupted by Duke. They start arguing, then it leads to a massive brawl backstage through the arena. Really good brawl, and then it gets into the ring. And after being absolutely laid out by Duke Hudson, Axiom gets back up and goes, I'm ready. Let's have a match. And then what I didn't like about it is he won by a roll up after that, after Duke had just destroyed it basically for 10 minutes.
Classic roll up finish.
And Duke Hudson always seems to be on the end of these things. Like he looks quite dominant and then he just looks an idiot by the end of a segment.
Yeah.
I don't think they know what to do. I think he's one person they don't know what to do within NXT. Him and Zion Quinn's kind of in the same boat. Big guys. They're not sure what to do. They're not pushing them. So they kind of have them lose all the time to people they shouldn't probably lose to.
Yeah.
We then got Wesley challenging Trick Williams to a British rounds match next week. So that's going to be interesting because we've watched a lot of NXT UK and we've seen British rounds matches before, and we're not really fans of them, are we?
No, we're not. Cassius Ono.
Skid
Scala comes back.
Skid Scala.
Skid, yeah. Skid
was a Skid.
Scala.
Bloody hell. That comes to mind when I think of that. So I'm scarred for life now with those type of matches. But hopefully this one will be good because Wesley is fantastic. In particular, and Tricks, he's not too bad. So hopefully this will be good, but it's an interesting match type for next week. We then got Tony D'Angelo and Stax versus the Creed brothers for the tag team titles. This match was okay, but the interest really was in the finish. Santos Escobar is back after being hospitalized by Tony D'Angelo. Costs him the match here by hitting him around the face. Legado stops Stax getting in the ring, and then Tony takes the pin. So crossed him again. So we're obviously that little family is split up now, and we're going to get, I'm guessing, another match between Tony D'Angelo and Santos Escobar. But I really like Santos Escobar as a face because I think he's
I liked his shirt.
Really popular. Yeah, he had a cool shirt on. And then they had a little phone call later on, which was like, we'll meet one-on-one to discuss what we do about this kind of thing. That was all right. We then got a little video promo from Roxanne talking about Cora Jade. Then we got just a couple of other random little matches before the main event, which was we got Joe Gacy v. Butch Jensen, short match. Pretty Deadly came in for a distraction finish here. And Joe Gacy keeps pleading to Cameron Grimes to join their group. Obviously with the former Grizzled Young Veteran guys in there. I don't know where that's leading. I don't know if Cameron Grimes is actually going to join that group or not, but I kind of hope not, to be honest, because I don't really like what they've done so far with Grizzled Young Veterans.
No, I don't think they will let him join.
No.
Yeah, it's a bit weird what they've done to Grizzled Young Veterans, isn't it, to be honest?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping when they wrestle, they're still like they were in the ring because they're great, but I don't like their characters right now. No. We then got Alba Fire versus Lash Legend. Alba Fire keeps just picking up wins, which is good because Alba Fire is great. Hit the Gory Bomb and the Swanton after Lash Legend tried to cheat using the bat. Alba Fire keeps, I think the fact she keeps picking up these wins may mean eventually she gets a title match.
They're building to it, aren't they?
I think she is the one to dethrone Mandy Rose because I want the best wrestlers to hold the titles, and NXT has been about that in the past, and I think they may look at it now and go, let's put the title on Alba Fire because I think she's the best wrestler they have now in NXT.
Yeah, she's incredible, isn't she?
Now EO's definitely gone. Now you've still got some other good ones, but she's more experienced than the likes of Roxanne and Cora and all these people that are up and comers. And
they can get it in the future.
But they've got more time. Yeah, I feel like putting it on Alba Fire for a while, maybe have a 3-month reign, then call her up to the main roster by maybe like Royal Rumble time, something like WrestleMania, whenever, would be ideal. Then we got the main event of Von Wagner versus Solo Sikoa in a Falls Count Anywhere match. And I'm not really into Von Wagner. I think his character's been a bit rubbish. Crowd don't seem to care. But this match, to be fair, they put on a banger here.
This was really good.
Yeah, it was a real banger. Using all sorts of weapons, brawling all over the place. There was a little cameo from a couple of people. Cameron Grimes was in there. Carmelo Hayes got pushed into a car backstage. That bit was really good. Yeah, there was some really good wrestling, obviously, in the ring. Solo went for a table, 1 point from Wagner. I thought that was the end of the match, actually, but Solo managed to kick out. And then Solo eventually wins, diving off the top rope through a table on Wagner to get the win. Big dive, a bit like the Logan Paul one on The Miz.
Yeah, a little bit like
very
that.
Similar.
Yeah.
Spot. Solo Sikoa gets a big win, and I think it's only a matter of time before he's called up to the main roster as well.
He's great, isn't he?
He hasn't won a title of any kind yet, and it makes me think, are they going to bother with the whole, let's have him have a title run before he gets called up? I can see them just going, nah, just go up. Especially if they want to freshen up the Bloodline storyline and make it in a twist in a dynamic, maybe throw him in there to upset the apple cart a little bit, be a little bit different, have a different attitude to the others. Especially if Roman's not on TV, he could try and take over. You know, he's the younger brother, but maybe he could come in and be like, I'm going to hold the fort. I don't know. You could do something.
Could be interesting, couldn't it?
Yeah, and I think he's really good. So
he's
I
great.
think it would work.
He's great in ring and on the mic, to be fair.
Yeah, and obviously with that bloodline, he's, I'm sure, going to be very popular.
He's on a run to greatness.
Both, with the fans and also backstage. So, yeah, really, really excited about the future. Even of NXT, I think NXT as well will improve because of this. Because we know Vince had more of a say with the presentation of 2.0. Obviously, Shawn Michaels is like the main guy doing NXT now. But there was definitely some Vince McMahon influence over NXT.
100%.
And Triple H, we know what his vision is for NXT because it was great under him for so many years. I can see them. I don't think they can go switch back completely. So I just can't see them doing that. But I think we're going to maybe go in a little bit more towards the old direction in NXT as well, which I think is exciting.
Yeah, really excited time for wrestling. And
exactly, particularly WWE, but all of wrestling, because it pushes competition even further. Because
definitely.
I think now AEW will think maybe some of their
stars
might go back.
Complacent, weren't they?
Yeah, and I think even though Tony Khan won't admit it, I think he will be thinking, I know people that aren't under that longer contract, well, maybe they will move, because they're like
they're going to get that opportunity to properly wrestle and things like that.
Yeah, so I do think it might improve all. The better the wrestling gets on one show, the other show should take notice of that.
Definitely.
So it can only be a good thing.
I think we've gone over everything.
Yeah.
For you? Yeah, I think that was good. So we're going to go off and recharge. I hope you felt plugged in this week to the WWE side of professional wrestling. As Fisher said earlier, please give us a like and subscribe and give us a little comment of what you think on our YouTube channel. If you're listening on the podcast, please search for Recharge Wrestling on YouTube. You'll find it there. If you want to follow us on Twitter, we keep up to date with general wrestling news. We have predictions, leagues, and general wrestling things going on. You can follow us at Recharge Wrestle. We couldn't fit in the ing. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll catch up with you next week. Look out for Fisher's AEW review tomorrow.
Just want to say as well, if you're going to Clash at the Castle when you listen to this, definitely follow us because we will have content from that show.
Constant content.
And we'd love to interact with you if you're going to know what you think of the show and if you're excited for it as well. So if you're going to Clash at the Castle, definitely listen to us and follow us because we'd love to chat with you about it.
And if you see us, give us a wave.
Absolutely. If you recognise our faces.
And enjoy and see you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.